Leave in the comments how many glasses you think Kokushibo wears at the same time. So guys, how are you? I hope you're all well, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm the Monio, the interdimensional demon who talks the most about Kokushibo on YouTube, and you're on my channel. Kokushibo is the strongest Oni that Muzan has ever transformed, and also the oldest that is still alive. He is also the first and only Upper Moon one in all of history, and throughout his almost 500 years, he has left many secrets along the way. We will meet some of them. When he was a human, almost half a century ago, Kokushibo had another name. His human name was Michikatsu Tsujikuni, a young child who was born in the Sengoku era in Japan, and who had a twin brother, called Yoriichi. Yes, that's the one Yoriichi who created Hanakami Kagura, the first breathing style that gave rise to all the others, also known as sun breathing. Despite being identical twins, Michikatsu soon realized that his brother was not physically equal to him, as Yoriichi had a strange birthmark on his forehead that made him much physically superior to Michikatsu, and when they both became swordsmen, this became even more evident. Only later would this mark become known as the Demon Slayer mark. The years passed and the rivalry relationship between the brothers continued to grow. Michikatsu was jealous of Yoriichi, who was far superior to him in technique, strength and dexterity with the sword, and then Yoriichi created sun breathing, which would be the first and the most powerful of all breathing. Michikatsu tried to learn the technique and become a user of Hanakami Kagura, but was unable to adapt to the technique, and was forced to create another breathing style derived from his brother's technique, which is the moon breathing. Michikatsu then awakened his Demon Slayer mark, having his strength and abilities increased, and thought he would become as strong as his brother, but Yoriichi was still much superior, and the worst thing is that Michikatsu discovered that, unlike his brother who was born with the mark, Yoriichi would die when he turned 25, because of the curse of the Demon Slayer mark, which exchanges life expectancy for power. Michikatsu started to hate Yoriichi, since he would die because of the mark, but he would not be able to overcome your brother. However, Michikatsu's life changed drastically when he encountered Muzan Kibutsuji, the original demon and leader of the Oni. Muzan transformed him into a demon, granting him immortality, superhuman strength, and regeneration abilities. Michikatsu became Kokushibo, one of the 12 Kazuki, and dedicated his existence to Muzan's servitude. Kokushibo came to believe that demonic nature was superior to human nature and began hunting and killing other demon hunters, including his own brother. He now had 6 eyes on his face, as this was the number he deemed necessary to be able to follow Yoriichi's blows. 60 years passed, and the brothers finally met and fought. Kokushibo thought he would finally beat Yoriichi, as he still had the strength of the Demon Slayer mark, added to the demonic power, but even though he was an elderly man, Yoriichi managed to defeat him, cutting partially Kokushibo's neck. Yoriichi, in addition to not having died because of the curse of the Demon Slayer mark, remained with the same strength and speed as when he was young, which makes Kokushibo furious with envy and resentment. Yoriichi prepares a next attack, and Kokushibo starts to get scared and sense that this next attack would kill him, cutting off his head, but the attack doesn't come, and Kokushibo realizes that his brother had just died of natural causes, right in the middle of the night. In front of him, and Kokushibo began to live with bitterness, having been surpassed by his brother in every way, even in death. Now that the strongest demon slayer of all has died, Kokushibo decided that no one else would defeat him, and continued to perfect his techniques over the centuries, and this made his moon breathing, with its 16 forms, the most refined breathing technique in all, even more than his brother's sun breathing. Now let's get to some interesting facts about Kokushibo. Kokushibo uses a sword that is similar to the one he used in his time as a demon slayer, but it is made from his own flesh, which can increase his range and the damage area of his breathing techniques. The sword also has several its eyes, which are functional and expand the Oni's field of vision. Kokushibo knows all the steps and techniques of sun breathing, although he was never able to actually use it, as sun breathing was not compatible with his body. Kokushibo was the only character in the entire story who was not born with the hunter's mark and managed to stay alive after the age of 25, as he managed to escape the curse through his immortality acquired by transforming into a demon. Being the strongest Upper Moon, Kokushibo was able to transform people into Onis, using their own blood, just like Muzan, but Kokushibo never really liked this idea, and only did this with people he considered strong. Until the moment of his final battle against the Ashiras, Kokushibo did not know that there were other demon slayers who could turn their blade red, and this surprised him a lot during the battle. Only Kokushibo and Akasa managed to break the control curse that Muzan maintains on all Oni, managing to ignore a direct order from Muzan, even as demons. Kokushibo was the only one of the upper moons who managed to completely regenerate his head after it was cut off, gaining a much stronger and more monstrous form after the head regenerated. The name Michikatsu means severity and victory, while the surname Tsujikuni means the one who will succeed a country, or the one who will successfully inherit a country. His demon name, Kokushibo, means the black eye of death. Kokushibo had his position as the strongest upper moon, challenged 3 times. In the first 2 blood duels, Kokushibo won and absorbed his opponents with Muzan's authorization. In the 3rd duel, his opponent was Akasa, and Kokushibo won again, but he chose not to kill Akasa because he found the duel fun, and told Akasa to evolve and challenge him again in the future. Kokushibo, while he was still Michikatsu Tsujikuni, had 2 children, and one of these children generated the lineage of Muchiro Takedo, who denied the name Tsujikuni from his father, and as for the other son, we do not have any type of information about his possible descendants, but most likely this son also abandoned the name Tsujikuni. Michikatsu and Yoriichi's relationship was inspired by the tale of Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, who are the gods of the moon and sun in Japanese mythology. The tale says that the two live in an eternal fight and swore never to see each other again, which is why the moon and the sun always appear at separate moments. While most Oni have a great fear of Muzan because he can read their thoughts, Kokushibo did not feel any type of fear regarding this, as he never had the slightest intention of betraying Muzan. Muzan liked the devotion and the way Kokushibo created her goals aligned with his so much, that Muzan started to see Upper Moon number 1, no longer as a subordinate, but as a partner. So, do you know any more interesting things about Kokushibo? Leave it in the comments, and don't forget to check out the other Demon Slayer videos on the channel, and subscribe to avoid being controlled by Muzan. Until next time my people, demonic hugs.